rappers and music producers. It's Curtis King at CurtisKingBeats.com, and today we are going to attack this idea of the big break. It's probably time that we need to reprogram this whole ideology. Let's talk about it. Rappers and producers, I don't know about you, but ever since I was a younger rapper or producer and I first got started in this, I've been always surrounded by this idea of the big break, that you're literally one handshake away from your life changing, that you're literally one person listening to your album in the right environment around the right people, and it's going to be your time. I've been introduced to seeing even stories, success stories of the J. Coles who freestyle for Jay-Z and then end up being signed by Jay-Z eventually, or the Big Seans that freestyle for Kanye and end up being a part of good music. These are stories that play really good for that individual artist's brand, but for us as rappers and producers who don't have the same exact story, they can be a little bit misleading, right? They can be more than misleading. They can actually lead us to believe that that same destiny is for us. Although we understand in theory that everybody has their own stories. Everybody has what I like to call their own Wikipedia bio and story when they're coming up. Now, for me, I think my biggest thing was I always felt like as a rapper, I was one song from having either that fan base that I wanted, or I was one song away from being on somebody's radar and maybe they follow me. It's almost like, I don't know how many of you guys play the My Player feature on NBA 2K, and you get to see this player that you develop from scratch become something, you know, on the street courts and then end up being like a superstar in the NBA, and they show like the Twitter following change and certain types of people who are like A-list actors start talking to you, and in a lot of ways, we kind of either expect or in the back of our mind, we're kind of hoping that this thing happens. And I think that this is something that is dangerous. Why do I feel like it's dangerous? I think it puts us in a situation where we put so much pressure on one release, whether it's one release of a beat, one release of a song, that we feel like this has to be perfect. And I've been in that situation before. I've had full-blown arguments with the homie in the studio session because I was pissed about him trying to tell me how to make it better. And I was like, I need to get this done now. My destiny is waiting on me. And I was crazy. I was going crazy. And I don't know how many of y'all got crazy stories that can relate to that, but I think all that comes from or stems from this idea that if I don't make it by a certain age, if I don't do something by a certain age, then my career was a failure. Or you got the mindset that I am one big break away from this whole thing shifting out for me. There is so much more independence, so much more power in your independence when you let go of that moment. When you just let life be what it is, instead of trying to manually shift it and say, well, maybe if I go to this show, I'll align myself. Maybe if I get this autograph from this artist, maybe if I slide my demo, if you get out of that mindset and start to say, okay, if I never have the opportunity to meet any of these people that are influential, any of my heroes, what would I do differently? When you ask that question, you'll start to get into an independent mindset. I had a podcast recently with Game from Busyworks, and I said something and producers were kind of laughing, but it was something that I was like, you know what? That is what the problem is with a lot of producers and rappers, is that a lot of us have this mindset of this Cinderella story where somebody is going to take us and sweep us off of our producer feet and one day bring us the glass slipper placement that is going to change our lives. And let me let you know, for most of you watching, it's not going to happen. Am I waiting on a big break? Am I putting my music in all these different places hoping that one thing's going to happen positive for me? Am I throwing things against the wall hoping that one of them things are going to stick? What if I went about it and said, not only is it not going to happen, I don't give a damn about my big break happening. I am going to put feet to pavement and I'm going to work on this every single day. I'm going to gain a fan every single day. I'm going to gain a customer every single day. But the thing about it is, if we are all out here waiting for a big break, we're never going to have the career we truly want. Many of us think we want fame. Most of us don't really want what fame has to come with it. I didn't know that. In the beginning, I wanted to be the next Kanye West. And then I realized the things that come with the Kanye West type of lifestyle. Then I realized Kanye West sometimes don't seem like he want to be Kanye West and all the responsibility that come with that. And then I had to come to a realization that all the influential people that I've had in my life, and this doesn't just apply to rappers, but even like the Gary V's. In many ways, people view me, at least in our space, as sort of like a Gary V type energy because I give you marketing advice. I make sure that I hit you straight in the face with it. And I think that a lot of people are influenced in many of the same ways, but I don't think that Gary V makes this type of stuff he makes. I don't think Kanye makes the type of stuff he makes, hoping that it creates clones of him that will do the same exact thing. There's a difference between imitating your heroes and emulating your heroes. In many ways, we're in a situation where it's like, if I copy the same thing somebody does, if I have the same exact story, I'm going to have the same exact results. If I find this person and I freestyle in front of them, I could be the next Big Sean. The chances of that happening are not as good as you making a business for yourself. It's funny because I'm pretty sure if you talk to most of your friends right now and you ask them, what do you think I have a better chance of doing? Starting up my own business and starting it from scratch and making money, or sending off my beats into an email and hoping to get a placement? They'll probably tell you got a better chance within your email. I don't know if it's insecurity that may not make you be offended by those words, but you should be offended. Because what you cultivate, what you create with your own two hands, you have the same 24 hours that all these other people that your influence have. You have no reason why you can't sit there and put this thing together brick by brick. But you know what the thing about it, the reality of it, most people don't want to do it. Most people don't want to go ahead and create their own thing. They're hoping that somebody's going to come sweep them off of their rapper or producer feet, and then life will be different from here on out. But for those of you, the small percentage of you that I know are entrepreneurs in your spirit, even if it's not within your knowledge quite yet, you'll get there. I hope that you're not sitting here waiting for somebody to just magically come and give you your career. Because guess what? You're going to always owe that person your career. You're going to always hear about that, especially if that person's not too happy about you one day surpassing them. So my purpose of making this video, your big moment is not going to come. You got to create it. So start with what you got right now. I don't care if you got just a little studio home set up. Start with that. Figure out how to make that sound as best as possible. Figure out how to get that to the people that need to hear what you got going on. It's not for everybody. Your music is not for everybody. Your beats are not for everybody to rap over. Look for the right people. Talk the right language that attracts those people, and it will change. But trying to wait for your big break to come is going to end up having you at 30, 31, 32, and you're going to be looking back like, where did all the time go? Once again, this is Curtis King, CurtisKingBeats.com. Peace. Please subscribe to the channel below, Curtis King, CurtisKingBeats.com.